it's quite a difficult question to answer because for everybody that will be very different. Typically, I would say it would maybe last weeks. That's like a build up over sort of a few hours to maybe several days. Many people start to notice that they get an improvement after a few weeks, but recovery can continue for several months. And I think up to sort of 12 months, we would say, especially if someone came back to us and said, after maybe a few months or 6 months in, and they were still having sort of residual symptoms from that relapse, then it's really important for us to sort of counsel these people with MS to say that actually, it isn't uncommon for this to go on for sort of a longer period. And we would say until we get to that 12-month point, we don't know if those symptoms will be permanent or whether or not they will resolve. Some people will fully recover, whilst others will maybe notice that they are left with some persistent symptoms or a slight change in function. And that again goes back to quite often depending on whereabouts in the nervous system this new damage has occurred. So that can kind of relate back to that. They may also find that symptoms return after recovery, so even with full recovery. And again, going back to sort of your pseudo relapses, so in heat, infection, in those sort of scenarios, you might find that actually those slightly newer symptoms then would reoccur at that point. So yeah, I think just to clarify, not always, but quite often people do fully recover.
Steroids will speed up recovery, but the underlying inflammation is there. So relapses can take weeks and even months to get better. So some people will notice a difference for a few days, and some may take longer. What I normally advise patients is if they have sensory symptoms, for example, numbness or optic neuritis, their vision is affected. Usually these symptoms get better within a few days. But if they have motor relapses, so obviously they're walking, their mobility, sometimes they have swallowing problems, those symptoms can take a bit longer to get better, sometimes weeks or months. So I think it's good to tell patients that this is not a quick fix. Giving steroids won't stop your symptoms altogether within a few days. So it's about managing expectations.